في أكبر الكتب.
Congratulations, you have found the Lambcast, the official podcast of the large association of movie blogs, also known as the Lamb. The Lamb is the largest collective of online movie blogs and podcasts with 2,000 members and counting. Every week on the Lambcast, various members of the Lamb community get together to talk about our favorite subject, movies. So bookmark the Lamb and follow us on social media. Be sure to join us each week to hear a lively discussion of films and movie-related talk from our members. Join the flock at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the Lambcast. I'm your host, Richard Kirkham from Kirkham A Movie A Day. The end of the year always brings reflection on the previous 12 months. If you look at social media, you can see dozens of data charts from Letterboxd, and on Box Office Mojo, you'll find financial data for the year. On IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, you can see what the active community is rating for the movies of 2025. Here on the Lambcast, I don't have an algorithm to tell us what the most watched movie is or the highest rated film by our community. Instead, we have this show where some of our lambs share their favorites of 2025 or rate them by quality. Everybody has a different criteria for their selections, and that's one of the joys of a show like this. In addition to the guests that made it to the show, several lambs who could not be with us sent their list to us to include, and I'll share those along the way. So let's meet the guests who are here. Rachel Wagner has to share some movie selections and not theater shows, although I'm sure she could do both.
Yes. Yes, it's so fun to be here. I could do a pro shot of a theater show, but I won't.
Okay. Tony Cogan has a list based on UK release schedule. Will we get holdovers from last year or films that don't open in the US until this new year? We'll find out.
Yep, probably gonna get both.
Howard Casner claims that he missed a lot of the major films this year, but I know he has opinions on the ones that he saw, and that's all anyone can ask.
Oh, I probably have opinions on the ones I haven't seen too.
And MovieRob is loaded down with films on a daily basis. How he'll manage to sort them out into a top 10 list is a mystery that we'll ask him to reveal.
I can't reveal it because I haven't been able to do it. You know, when you've seen 228 movies from 2025, whittling them down to 10, not easy.
Not something that you can just do off the top of your head.
No.
And Jeanette Ward has joined us at the last minute. She's only going to be here for a little while, so it's pleasant to have an additional member of the Lamb community join us. Jeanette, thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks. Nothing like a last-minute ad. I'm here to throw off the schedule for everybody. I'm always excited about, yes, give me your top 10, but I'm also always excited to hear what's the bottom two for everybody. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, well, we're going to hear about people's disappointments or worst films, overrated or disappointed. You know, people have different criteria for the films that they're talking about. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started and do a round robin, working from the bottom of your list to the top, if that's okay. And if you don't have a ranking, you just have 10 films that you want to talk about, that's okay too. Just tell us how it's working. And Rachel, we're going to start with you. What's in your number 10 spot, or at least what's your first film?
My number 10 spot is The Ballad of Wallace Island.
Yeah.
Sweet, charming film about a man who's just trying to get his beloved folk duo back together again. He won the lottery and he's trying to reunite these two singers, and it's got some great songs. It's really a nice little movie.
I have not even heard of this movie.
I really wanted to see that. That is on my list. I haven't seen it yet.
Is
it because I was introduced to Tim Key through Taskmaster? Maybe, but that still counts.
I was really drawn this year to movies that I felt like balanced the heavy with a little bit of humor.
Yeah, I agree with you with this. It's a really charming film. Like Tom Bassett and Tim Key are both brilliant in it. And hopefully, it'll do well at the BAFTAs, at least in the nominations. Probably, I feel like it's one that's been a bit overlooked outside the UK. It's one did really well over here. It's one that
Mm,
like smaller cinemas had this one playing for months,
yeah.
and a lot of like really popular
I think
sold out
that
screenings. Even few ones with Tim Key and Tom Basden in attendance. It's just
it
really
might
charming film.
yeah, it might squeeze in there for best original song. It's a tough year. It's very competitive for original song this year with Sinners and K-pop and so many good ones. But yeah, as is often the case, the British tend to have much better taste in movies than we do.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
they're keeping us a lot of good movies afloat these days.
Well, let's see what the UK has to offer in exactly the way you suggest. Tony, you're going to be next. So what have you got in your number 10 spot?
We got on number 10. This is one of the holdovers from 2024 that released in 25 in the UK, and it's the film that won last year's Oscar for Best Animated Film. My number 10 is Flow, and like for me, I'm someone who's just a really big fan of modern silent animation. Like I had Robot Dreams as my number one film for last 2024.
It's so
I've
good.
I've very highly rated like the Shaun the Sheep movies, the Red Turtle. There's been a lot of really great silent ones over the past years, and Flow is an excellent example of what can be done with silent animation. And the animation here is really impressive, especially for such a low budget and how independent it is for that Latvian company. It doesn't really have the resources that you expect from other studios have. But it's one where there's a great sense of adventure throughout. All the animals feel like animals, but you always feel like a sense of connection and the growing bonds between all of them. To the point where when I was watching it for the first time, I just kind of inserting dialogue into my head that bit what all the animals are feeling and experiencing. And just as an adventure, it's just really like great film, and I'm really pleased that this won the Oscar last year, and the showcase of what independent animation is just as strong as the mainstream ones. And as a hint, this is not the only independent animated film that's a holdover from 2024 in my top 10.
Well, I love that comment that you made that you participated in the movie by thinking of the conversations or the words that the animals would be making in the story. That makes you an active listener and the kind of person that really can get into a film like that. That's great.
Well, that also is a testament to the creators and how engaging the piece is, even without dialogue.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
It's a
That's
great
true.
film. I loved it.
It's
Yeah, it was a
beautiful.
lot of fun.
Howard, it's your turn. What have you got on your list that you can talk about that you did actually see?
Yes, I do have to say that I have not seen a major number of the big films like Hamnet and things like that for various reasons. I'm going to start from 10 up to 1. So my 10th choice is one that got mixed reception, but I really liked The Phoenician Scheme, written and directed by Wes Anderson, about a ruthless businessman trying to reconcile with his daughter, and completed as project in Phoenicia. I thought it was very funny, but also very moving by the end, because the businessman finds redemption. I generally ran hot and cold to Wes Anderson, but I also loved his last film, Asteroid City, which was my favorite film of that year.
I'm usually a Wes Anderson fan, and for some reason, this movie didn't strike me as something that I was interested in, but yours is the first recommendation I've heard of it. So,
I liked it.
Yeah.
well, good.
It wasn't my favorite, but I can see why you liked it.
Yeah, this was honestly a bit of a disappointment for me, but yeah, I can see why people liked it, but it just didn't work for me.
I can tell you that I liked it because of Michael Cera, if that helps.
I mean,
he's
he's just a perfect fit for Wes Anderson.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. I can see that.
Right. I'm not a fan of Wes Anderson, so I just haven't even gotten around to seeing it. It's not something that's been high on my list. But if you all think that that it's worth taking a look at, I have no problem trying to find time to watch another movie.
268 films, and you couldn't find room for Wes Anderson.
228.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
But the year isn't over yet. There's still a lot of more movies from 2025.
Actually, the year is over.
No, the
We're in
movies that came out.
2026 now.
Yes, that I'm aware of, Howard. But what my point is that there's still a lot of movies from 2025 that, like
Right.
you, I have not seen. I
Yes,
haven't
tell
seen
me
okay.
about it. Oh
Okay,
my God,
Rob.
tell me about it. Yeah.
Rob, for the movies that you did see in 2025, what did you manage to figure out to put in the number 10 spot?
So my number 10 is a small little movie called Eleanor the Great with June Squibb, which by
I
everyone's
heard great
silence
things
means
about
that no one's
this.
ever heard of it.
Yeah, I
No,
was
I
meant
did
to
hear of
see
it. Yeah.
I
I was
have
meant.
heard.
I've
I
seen
had
it.
tickets booked. I had tickets booked to see it, but the only weekend it came out, I fell ill, so I had to skip it.
Mhm. No, I've this is the second movie in a row that I've seen where June Squibb is the lead in it, and I can't believe that she was always just a supporting actress for 80 years of her career, and now is only starting to be given starring roles, and she's just great. I mean, this is a simple little film about a woman who starts spinning a tale about something that didn't really happen in her life, but she's telling people the story of what happened to her best friend and pretending that she is her best friend, and it's a very very interesting story, and I enjoyed it a lot.
It's one of those
I don't
films
I don't
that
want to give away
opened
too
and
much.
was there in a theater for maybe a week, playing at one screening a night, usually late at night. I never got
Right.
around to seeing it, so but I
Okay.
appreciate the recommendation. That's great. Well, my number 10 is a film that's in theaters right now. It opened on Christmas Day. It's been my practice for 45 years to go to a movie on Christmas, and some of them have been great choices. You know, they fit with the theme, with the time of the season and the mood that you're in. Some of them have been not so great choices. They were terrible movies. I, you know, I'm still trying to get the bad taste of Babylon out of my mouth. Uh,
Good luck.
Yeah, it was just not good. And the
Refreshing.
Hateful Eight is not really a Christmas movie, but that's one that I saw on Christmas. But this one, on the other hand, worked really well, and that's Song Sung Blue, the story about the impressionists. I don't want to say impersonators. They use a different term for it. The presenters of Neil Diamond songs, and it's a good story. It's based on a documentary, a real life experience, and apparently it sticks very close to the story. I know that there's a little bit of controversy going on right now because the son of the couple that's featured in the story has some problems with the way things are being presented, but everybody else seems to be quite happy with it. And if you don't care about that other kind of stuff, you're going to see a very good film that is. It reminded me of an old-fashioned film. It's kind of like a 70s film uh, in the storytelling style. It's a very traditional structure. It's filmed in a way that is not particularly fancy. It looks really very good, and Kate Hudson is great in it, and both of them sing quite well. So it's a lot of fun. And I say a lot of fun. I do want to mention, of course, that it doesn't have happy endings. There are a couple of dramatic twists in the film that are kind of sad, but they're the kinds of unhappy endings that still make a movie satisfying. If you know going into terms of endearment that it's not going to come out well, you can still enjoy the movie and be moved by it. And this is kind of in that vein.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. It's high on my list of what I still need to watch.
I am too because of the Milwaukee-ness of it and knowing that it wasn't filmed here, but that it's very Milwaukee based. So I'm curious how that's going to look.
I think it'll come across well, although it's been forever since I was in Milwaukee. All right, well, we have Jeanette Ward with us, and we only have her for a limited time. So, Jeanette, I'm going to ask you what your number 10 is, and then if you can run through the other ones that you've got on your list as well, so you can move on with your life for the day.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I will preface this by saying, like, I'm aware in advance these are not great movies. These are the movies I liked the most and had the most fun with. And a couple that surprised me the most, I think that's almost a special category of enjoyment when you go in expecting nothing and something delivers far above and beyond you were expecting. My number 10, and for those who know me, this is not a shock, my numbers are all wrong, and I've got like 3 movies at number 10. I was surprised by Accountant 2. I really enjoyed it. The final Mission Impossible, I actually liked, which I had hated the previous one, so I was super excited about that. That biplane action chase sequence at the end was wonderful to see on the big screen. Really appreciate that. But here's a surprise for number 10. I have The Running Man reboot, remake, reimagining, staying truer to the original book / whatever. Wasn't expecting anything from it. Went in expecting not to like it. Enjoyed it and was surprised, and so I'm giving it number 10 for the year, mainly because of Lee Pace. Sometimes I forget how fun Lee Pace is and could use more of him. So there you go, number 10. Do you want me to keep going? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no,
That's a great choice, Jeanette. For me, it just missed the top 10. I really enjoyed it also because as much as I love Arnie, his version, this one is so true to the novella, and it really they did a great job of putting it to the screen.
It was fun. We talked about it last week on the show. It's the least Edgar Wright film that I've seen.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was okay, but as a massive Edgar Wright fan, I was a bit disappointed by it.
And that makes sense.
Well, let's move on to number 9. What have you got, Jeanette?
Number 9 is one of those that surprised me and came out of nowhere, and how odd that we have to start thinking about streaming movies as regular movies, but The Gorge, I was not expecting anything. Watched it and was surprised by there was a lot in it, and for someone who does not care for Miles Teller at all, I was like, yeah, this is fun. I enjoy it. What a quick, short action sci-fi nonsense movie that you can catch online. I liked it.
I enjoyed it too, but it's not qualified for my list because, of course, I require it to be in a theater in order to rank it, So, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a good film. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting. There was another one that was out at the same time that I'm trying
Elevation.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
It was like 2 that were very similar.
Yeah, one went down and one went up. the gorge, the threat is down. The elevation, the safety is up. So that's how you remember them.
That's the way to do it. Good job.
And then right above that, and I'm afraid there's more streaming on here than I would like, because I'm a theater person. I want to see stuff in the theater, but quality is going to happen everywhere. At least, no, let me change the way I say that. Entertainment is happening everywhere. So, and this is what I put K-pop Demon Hunters at 8. Like, I heard people talking about it and was like, whatever, that's nonsense. I'm not watching a kids movie. And then one weekend was like, you know what? I'll watch it. I'll just start it. I'll see what it's about. Was so caught up within the first 15 minutes. The music is great. The themes are wonderful. It's super funny, and there's jokes in there for adults as well as kids. The music, I said it already, but I'll say it again. And then by the end, the storyline, like, I found myself in tears, like, oh my God, I love this. So it really caught me off guard, so it's on my list.
It's number 9
it's a fun
on mine.
film.
So
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one as well.
I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it. I love the music also. That's what really got me with the whole thing.
I haven't pulled the trigger on it. The world is full of people who love these kinds of movies. I just haven't been one of them. That doesn't mean I couldn't love it. Just means I haven't walked into a theater to see it. See how it is. It's streaming now, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
All right, I can test it out there.
I watched it because personally, I do the death race every year, the Oscar death race, and the odds are it's going to be there. So I was like, all right, I got a chance to see it, so I went and saw it.
Nice. I have back-to-back animation on here, and opposite ends of the animation scale. I have Predator Killer of Killers at 7. I really liked it. It surprised me again. It's kind of an anthology across a lot of time. It expands the Predator universe and gives us a little more variety within the species, and was really beautifully animated. And I, keeping on the theme of like dialogue light or very, very little dialogue animation, there's a couple of vignettes in this that almost could have used no speaking and would have been equally as beautiful and effective. So I really liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah, I'm right there. So I really like that what Dan Trachtenberg's been doing with the Predator series from Prey onwards.
Yes.
I had actually never seen a Predator film before this year, so
wow.
Yeah. That was a blind spot I worked on this year.
And this year, well, let's get there. So
That's
number
a good
6,
accomplishment.
number 6, I have Sinners, which I feel like will not get a ton of argument. Maybe some of you have it higher, maybe some of you have it lower, maybe some of you don't have it, and that's fine. It's another one where I think I went in with relatively high expectations and it delivered. So that's why it's kind of in the middle of my list.
It's a good
Yeah,
film.
it was a good film. It's not on my list, but it was good. I liked it.
I actually
think
didn't
it's-
like it.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I think it's interesting
I liked
to
the first half, and then the second half just it lost me. The second half.
you didn't like the vampire half.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Gotcha.
definitely liked the musical part better than the
Okay,
vampire
and
part.
that's fair.
but
I think
I thought it was a solid, well-made film.
my issue with awards movies, in air quotes, which you can't see, but I'm doing them. Awards movies, Oscar movies. I feel like academies have a tendency to recognize one genre of film, and it is drama, period. I like when something gets acknowledged that is outside of that realm, and Sinners tends to cross a lot of genres, and I like that it's being recognized not just as a fun audience flick, but also as, air quotes, a critic's movie
I agree.
on some
Yeah.
level. I would love for, academies and critics to open their worldview and acknowledge that horror exists, that comedy exists, that sci-fi exists, that action exists. Anyway, moving on. Above that, and this is where I might get a little... I have Fantastic Four First Steps because, man, I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought the story was fun. I love that we didn't get an origin story. I love that it jumped in feet first and we just kept up with these characters. It felt like a tribute to where they came from and opening doors to where they could go. There you go.
It's not on my list, but everything you just said, I agree with. It was one of those films that I really enjoyed so much. I enjoyed it so much, I went and saw it again the next week.
Nice.
I like the whole retro style of it, and like you said, they're not telling us an origin story. They're just treating it as, here we are in the story, and these characters already exist, and I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot also. I'm waiting to see where it's going to go, but yes,
yeah,
I really liked
it'll
it.
be interesting to see what's next. But even if it was a singular standalone, what a fun little romp. Again, you don't have to. Not everything has to be the biggest thing. Give me a big action movie that is still kind of a small, tight story. Speaking of which, above that for number 4, I have Drop. This is another one that came out of nowhere for me. I was shocked by how fun it was, how action-packed it was, how tense it was, and how it reminded me again, like, you can make a really fun, engaging thriller of a movie that has limited sets, limited budget, no giant names of actors, but just a really fun, engaging story.
I must have seen the trailer for that about 3 dozen times, and I felt like I saw the whole movie, but I never made it to the show.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Thought it was fun.
Above that, I've got in number 3, Predator Badlands, which I think from, again, talking about how Trachtenberg has really stepped into this universe and elevated it, it was bringing it back to, and I feel like we've talked about this, but the previous Predator movies kind of fell off what made the original so great, which was hiding the creature, but also the practical nature of the creature and engaging storyline. And this one kind of felt like it was bringing that back in introducing new threats, giving some really great practical effects, and also really allowing the actor within the suit to shine. Because we have to relate to this character. We've never had, across all of the Predator franchise, the Predator as the hero, as the lead, as the protagonist of the movie. And so it was a lot to ask, and I feel like they pulled it off.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked it. It was besides the original Predator, this was my favorite Predator.
Mm-hmm.
I really
liked it too.
Better win. It didn't make my top 10, but I really did enjoy it, and I was surprised because I wasn't expecting. I was expecting it just to be like all the other Predator movies, and they did a great job of surprising us and giving us something very different. And I loved the way that they created this planet.
Yeah.
With all the booby traps, I guess you can say, along the way, and how the characters need to figure out ways of getting around these booby traps, and then once they figure it out, you're like, wow, using everything that they tell us at the beginning, You know,
Yeah.
it's sort of it's Chekhov's booby traps, that type of thing.
I
So
love a
yeah,
movie where nothing is wasted.
yeah.
Number two is Captain America: Brave New World, and I love it because Sam Wilson's superpower is therapy and counseling, and I feel like that just really hit me correctly at that moment. What I wanted from this movie was just season 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I want the two of them together. I want them having more adventures. I want a longer form where they can deal with all of the issues that they dealt with in season 1, expounding on those and having continued adventures. And I want the friendship between them. So this movie lacked that for me, but I still appreciate it. It struggled here and there. It had some rough moments, but I still really like what it was trying to do, and I'm going to give it some grace on that. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah. And then number 1, I'll just roll right into Thunderbolts. Not a surprise for anyone who knows me. I loved this movie. It again was a bit of a surprise. I don't think I was expecting much from this one based on the characters were like not my favorites. It's everybody's B list, but the movie, and again where the villain is unprocessed trauma, I think hit me at the right moment where I was ugly crying in the theater. But just and again, a tight little film. Like not every circumstance in these big superhero movies has to be end of the world stakes. It can simply be a story where you're trying to handle one situation in one city at one time, and it can still be a good story. So that's why it's my number 1. I loved it, and that's my list.
Well, I got to say about your list that although I don't have any of these films on my list, I don't hate any of your choices.
Well, good.
And I have several other lists that I'm going to be sharing where I hate a lot of their choices.
Ooh. I was not a fan of Brave New World, but other than that, I enjoyed your picks.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Jeanette, for
my
joining
bottom
us.
2, if I can just throw out my bottom 2.
Sure can.
James Gunn's is Superman by James Gunn, written directed by James
Ooh.
Gunn.
To be discussed later by me.
Yeah, it was too much movie, and I anytime a creator, writer, director has their name above the title, I think you run into some issues. And then the other one was Jurassic World Rebirth, because I had really high hopes, and I think that this was again made by people who forget why we like the original Jurassic Park, which was give me real dinosaurs done in beautiful animatronics, and please stop creating CGI hybrid monsters that make no sense and with a bad story. Anyway, there you go.
That was bad.
Yeah.
I liked Superman, but yeah.
I know. I'm in the minority on that one. I appreciated the hopeful tone of Superman. I just felt like it was too much. I really loved Mr. Terrific. We'll go with that.
Well, you've been Mr. Terrific on our show, or Ms. Terrific, I should say. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad that you were able to get in here at the last minute. I know you've got to run, but we appreciate your input. Thank you, Jeanette, and have a great
Thanks,
week.
everybody.
Great seeing you, Jeanette.
Have a good one.
All right. We'll get back to our rotation of lists now with Rachel in her number 9 spot.
My number 9 spot is a small little documentary. It's called Secret Mall Apartment. And it's about these, in like 1998, these artists who resented the fact that this giant monstrosity of a cement mall was built in where they had a creative space before. And they found this like alcove in this mall that was somehow hidden from everybody. And they built this apartment. They set up this apartment for 3 years. And it was just very entertaining. Everybody's very charming who's profiled, and also it has something to say about like what qualifies as art. When does something with private space and public space, when does something become sort of a public good? When should we protect it? And it was just really fun.
And it's a documentary.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very nice. Tony, how about you? What have you got next?
Well, you mentioned films that you hated in other people's list. Guessing this is my number 9 is gonna be one of those. My number 9 is One Battle After Another.
Yeah, there you go.
What is it?
One battle after another.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That was a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that going into that, this would I'd probably be the bit of the minority, even though for the rest of the community, I'm actually more in the majority of this one. But yeah, I just had a great time with this. I've been watching a few more Paul Thomas Anderson films the past year. Like we watched Magnolia earlier, getting through that, we get a bit through his filmography, and yeah, this one is just a good reminder for me of why I love Paul Thomas Anderson as a director. He's got this great epic scope to his films and does that well here. It's just a great bit of fun to watch for me. Sean Penn is hilariously evil in it. It's about doing the right balance between someone who's this pure evil, this white supremacist, but also just this like bit of a goofier figure, showing the fetishization of color by white supremacists. And he's just a lot of fun to watch. There's great work from Leonardo DiCaprio, Chase Infinity, Benicio del Toro. It has some really great action scenes, like the final car chase. I think is almost exciting scenes of the year. Great use of the environment, and just really great ideas at the heart of the film about community action, the nature of activism, allowing the younger generation to make up for the failures of their parents, and what and actually plays an important role of how activism can play a role and what really the going more overtly violent action, and however that is useful, or whether the best action is being more locally grounded, involved in the community, creating a sense of trust and just a sense of community that between people that is able to form an effective counter to overt white supremacy and the military industrial complex. Yeah, I understand that quite a few beyond that this is all about anyone, and yeah, as I said, you're definitely not a fan of this, but yeah, I've had a great time with this.
I like the idea of a revolutionary guy turning into a fuddy-duddy because he loves being a dad. Like that was my favorite element of the movie, was seeing that the arc of Leonardo DiCaprio's character. And of course, that chase scene at the end is really great. It didn't make my top 10, but I thought it was a good film.
Yeah, I thought it had some good moments in it, but I think it took some things just far too over the top, and that dropped it down for me.
The
It's
best
on
thing
my
about
list.
the best thing about the movie is the car scene at the end where they use the
Yeah.
environment as part of the action, and I thought that was really excellent. Everything else in the film I hated. So, well, Howard, what have you got on the number 9 spot for you?
It's something that's already been discussed, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Mm.
I don't think I have any idea what the plot was by the time it was over, but I didn't really care. The animation was so exciting. It sort of reminded me of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse type of animation. It was very exciting. I also didn't really want to see it because, well, it's K-pop Demon Hunters, but then everybody was really liking it and it was on Netflix, so I watched it and I thought, oh, this is great from the very opening scene.
Well, we've mentioned it already. It was a kind of a phenomenon this last year. It actually did get released in theaters and did good business, and it was surprising how popular it was. So
The top 5, all 5 of the top Halloween costumes were from K-pop Demon Hunters.
It should win Best Animated Film
I think it will.
at
Yeah.
I
the
think it will.
Oscars.
I have a feeling it's going to be up there for best original song as well. It's going to be either that
Yeah.
or "I Lie to You" from Sinners.
Yeah.
It's a very
Well, it might be
competitive
one
year
of-
for original song, but
Mm.
yeah, I think is a good chance to win.
Rob, what have you got in your number 9 spot?
Okay, my number 9. Once again, I'm going with a movie that probably most of you have never heard of or haven't seen. It's called Dead of Winter with Emma Thompson,
Mm.
I've seen
Uh,
previews to it, but I didn't see it.
which was a really, really enjoyable thriller. Again,
Hmm.
simple story. It's about a woman who's in a desolate place. She sees a crime and wants to help out. Now, I'm not going to give away too much about it.
You've
But,
never seen Judy Greer like in that movie. Holy cow.
That is true. That is very true.
Well, I didn't know Judy Greer was in it. Suddenly, I'm interested in it. Very nice.
Mhm.
Wasn't there a movie with Mary Steenburgen back in the 80s called Dead of Winter
There
had
was
that had a similar theme?
No, it didn't have a similar theme.
No.
But yeah, I don't know if it was called that or not, but something like that. She's
Yeah,
really
in
good in it. Mary Steenburgen's
1987.
really good in it.
It was 87 with Mary Steenburgen and Roddy McDowell, her husband at the time. Yes.
All right.
But it's not the same.
Not the
It's
same.
about
Okay.
an actress is lured to a remote mansion for a screen test, soon discovering she's actually a prisoner in the middle of a blackmail plot.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little different, but that actually sounds really interesting.
Well,
So thank you
it's
for
a
the
fun
recommendation.
film. Yeah, I'd say you did enjoy it.
All right.
I'll get back to you on that tomorrow.
Well, in my number 9 spot, I have a film that stars 2 Academy Award-winning actors, several other actors that have been honored in the past with nominations. It's a historical drama, and I was not expecting much out of it. In fact, the way it kind of got dumped in theaters, I thought nobody was really supporting it, but I was quite impressed with it. It's a long damn movie. It's almost 3 hours. Nuremberg with Russell Crowe and Rami Malek.
I like that too.
So you really liked it?
I did
I'm
like it
curious.
quite well.
I really enjoyed it
Curious.
till the last 5 minutes.
What was going on in the last 5 minutes that bugged you?
Well, I don't want to give away spoilers here, do I?
No,
I mean, it's historical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you can't
don't spoil it.
history.
I haven't seen it yet.
It turned far too political in the last 5 minutes.
I know it. I know what you're talking about. Yes, I understand. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. I loved it up until that
remember
spot.
that.
And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah, it did seem to have a little bit of a 180 turn there on that. So I appreciate what you're saying.
I do think it's one of the more underrated movies of the year.
Yeah,
It
and I
deserved
thought Russell
more.
Crowe was really good.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is Russell Crowe's best performance in years.
Yeah, it was really good.
Well, we're going to come around to the number 8 spot. We'll come back to another list of somebody else who's not here at the end of this round. So in the number 8 spot, Rachel, what have you got?
So I did love K-pop, but the animated film that made my top 10 is actually Little Amelie and the character of Rain. And this is an adorable film about, it actually starts with little Amelie that as like a cell and goes all the way through her entire like birth and life and everything. She's a little girl, and her nanny basically leaves, and she's very sad about it, and she misses her very much. And it's a simple story, but it's beautifully animated, and just a sweet depiction of childhood and how important the people that love us when we're little are and mean to us. And so yeah, that's what I have at 8.
Yeah,
I
it's an
can see
animated
this.
film.
I can see this making my list for 2026. It's not counting the UK yet, but this one feels like it's going to be right up my alley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cute.
Good. Tony, what is in your alley this year?
So yeah, this is one where that's has been released in the UK. I'm not sure if it's got a release outside the UK yet. But it's one that's definitely not going to be for everyone. I imagine a lot of people really taking against it. My number 8 is Pillion.
Which one?
So,
I'm sorry.
Pillion.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Haven't seen it, but yeah.
I have no idea what this is.
So yeah, it's a film focused on like Harry Melling is like traffic officer who enters into a sadomasochistic relationship with Alexander Skarsgård's bike character Ray, and it's one that's really interesting exploration at BDSM dynamics. It's really great 2 central performances from Harry Melling and Alexander Skarsgård. Both do a great job showing the way the dynamic works. It's surprisingly tender at points. It's really touching. You get a sense of how important the relationship is, how the affection that can be generated in these kind of relationships, but also doesn't shy away from questions about consent and control and how that dynamic plays out. There's a really fascinating discussion and between with Skarsgård and Ren's character's parents. It's really funny. It's a lot funnier than I expected, and it feels like it's one of the ones that's a bit more of an honest take on BDSM relationships. I know there have been some other films that have looked at it in the past, like famously the 50 Shades of Grey films are awful, and Baby Girl, which was really disappointing for me because it didn't go into the proper discussions about the consent and control element that Pillion does. And this was a really pleasant surprise, and I found myself really enjoying it. And again, it's not going to be for everyone. There's going to be a lot of people really take against just the whole idea of the relationship at the core film who don't see the kind of tenderness and affection that I did. But and a question about emotional availability and how the importance of that in relationships, how that plays in with BDSM dynamics. But I had a brilliant time with this. I found this a really great film and probably the best romance film of the year.
You know, the
Yeah, I can't
BDSM
wait to see it.
romance is probably not going to be on my list of things to see, but thank you for sharing it. Different strokes for different folks, as they say. Howard, your number 8?
Number 8 is Darren Aronofsky's movie Caught Stealing. I'm not really a big fan of Aronofsky's. I did like what's the one that put him on the map? Requiem for a Dream, or whatever. And
Yeah.
I love that, but ever since then, he hasn't really impressed me. This I really loved. It's basically a thriller farce about a bartender who runs afoul of everybody by when he pet sits for his neighbor, he gets caught up in things that he has nothing to do with. I really enjoyed this.
Is this Austin Butler in this movie?
Yeah.
All right. I saw the trailer for it several times, and I thought it was a Safdie brothers movie,
I
And
guess you could say it looks like it. It's a bit too farcical
yeah.
for them, perhaps.
Okay.
Like I would know, but I've seen a lot of the movies. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Aronofsky in general. The only movie that I loved of his was The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. I thought that was amazing the way they did. But it's the only one that's completely different than everything else that he made. So I stayed away from Caught Stealing. I'm not sure which realm it fits into, but the way you
It's
described
unlike
it
any of his
sounds like
others.
it's
I
what it's
just felt like it was a little violent for the tone that they were going for. Like what happens with the girlfriend and everything. I was like, oh, I don't know. But I can see why you
They're
enjoyed
going
it.
for laughs, and it's a little over the top with the violence.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's my cup of tea.
Rob, what have you got in your number 8 spot?
my number 8 is a romantic comedy called Eternity.
That's on my list as well.
Good deal.
Yeah, I went and saw it. My wife and I both just loved the movie. It's just it's a very innovative idea, and the way that they did this movie, it just there's so many moments that you just laugh at what they've done because it's so innovative and original with the idea. Basically, the premise is once again a very simple premise. It's about a it's about basically three dead people sort of in heaven. I'm not going to even, and it's a woman and her two husbands. One was the husband that she married before he died in the war during in Korea, and they were only married for like a year. And then the other is her husband that she lived with for I think 60 years or something like that. And she has to choose between the two of them, in this pre-heaven area and stuff like that. And again, it just was a lot of fun. And it also has a lot of meaning behind it if you think about it. It's about about what we have here and what we take to the next life, if you believe that there is one or whatever.
All right. And I guess we're going to hear about it more in a few minutes when Rachel talks about it too. All right. My number 8 is, I think maybe the best performance by an actor who's going to get ignored at the Academy Awards that you're going to find on anybody's list. And that's Good Boy. Because the actor is a dog, and Indy is terrific in this movie. It's the horror film told from the dog's perspective. I'm a dog guy, so I was already into the movie when it, even before I saw it. I just loved the idea. I tell you what, the one thing that it definitely deserves to be nominated for, and that's editing, because this is a perfect example about how you get an acting performance out of somebody who's a non-actor. It's by, putting the material together the right way. And I also found it to be nice and creepy. There's, one jump scare in the movie, but mostly it's just a film based on dread and horror and uncertainty and the growing realization that things are not going to go well for everybody here. But I will give everybody a little bit of relief. The dog is okay at the end of the movie.
You just ruined the whole thing. So, Richard, do you think someone who doesn't like horror movies will enjoy it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Thank you. Now I have another recommendation.
Okay. Good deal. Well, let me share a list from somebody else who is not able to be with us today, but did send in their list for us to share with all of you, and that's Todd Liebenow from the Forgotten Filmcast. And Todd has a couple of films that people have mentioned here. Number 10 on his list is K-pop Demon Hunters, so apparently I'm going to have to see this film because everybody's got it on their list. Number 9 is a film that I also saw, Final Destination Bloodlines. Number 8, he has Sly Lives. He says it's also known as The Burden of Black Genius. Number 7, Kiss of the Spider Woman. That's the musical version of the film based on the Broadway musical. Number 6 is Black Bag. Number 5 is Bergonia. Number 4 is Wake Up, Dead Man. Number 3, Todd, what are you doing? Damn it. One Battle After Another. Number 2, he's got Marty Supreme, which is a Safdie, well, not a Safdie Brothers film, but one of them. And number 1, he has Sinners, which has been mentioned on the show already. So thank you, Todd, for sending in your list, and we appreciate your participation in this project. All right, we're back around to number 7 here. And Rachel, what have you got for your number 7 film?
Number 7 for me is Eternity, actually. There have basically Hollywood has abandoned the romantic comedy to streaming, and it makes me very sad. And so this was one of the only romantic comedies that we got all year, and beyond that, it was just very clever. I loved the whole premise of the afterlife being this like trade show of different options that people can pick from is funny. I think that they did about as good a job as they could with the ending, because they sort of wrote themselves into a corner, because whoever she picked, you're going to feel bad they shouldn't pick the other guy because they're both good guys. So I think they did the best they could, but I enjoyed the ride to get to the ending.
I maybe heard the name of this movie and had no idea what it was. That it's a romantic comedy makes me now want to see it, because I love those kinds of movies. And I think it would be, very, and what you described, I have an addiction to defending your life.
Oh,
and I watch that movie probably a couple of times a year.
Oh, I bet you'll like this then. I love Defending Your Life as well. That's an all-timer. And but yeah, and just in general, afterlife movies I really tend to like. They just are creative and fun. So this one is it's one of my favorite A24 releases.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Tony, number 7 for you.
My number 7, it was mentioned in Todd's list, and it is Wake Up, Dead Man. I've been a massive fan of the Benoit Blanc films, and I'm just a massive fan of Ryan Johnson's work in general. And It doesn't, for me personally, with the Benoit Blanc series, Glass Onion is still my favorite of them, but Wake Up Dead Man is a very close second. It's probably the best looking of the Benoit Blanc films. The way uh, light is used in particular is really impressive. Some absolutely beautiful cinematography throughout the film. It's just great of using light to convey the characters, particularly with Father Judd. Uh, who is a very interesting character looking at the faith in the modern world and religion. It shows how religion has been corrupted by people wanting power and control, wanting to exert dominance over small flock, and was also used by the right wing to bolster division and create and foster hatred. And there's a good contrast with Father Judd, one who sees religion as a tool for helping people and support. And with the scene where he's on the phone uh with a woman who's talking about her relationship with her mum, it's one that starts off as a bit more of a comedic scene, but that's ultimately the core of the film. The general piece of the film is how religion can be used in a positive way and how it needs to be taken away from those who want to use it to foster division and to foster community. The cast is great. Is great here. Josh O'Connor's had a great year in general between like this and the Mastermind, some noise. It's great talent to watch. Daniel Craig's as fun as ever, and there's like some new like twists on him, and the dynamic between Blanc and Father Judd is really interesting. With Blanc being like over atheist and being this representation of religion, and seeing that conflict over the nature of religion between those two makes for it fascinating. Watch. Josh Brolin's a great villain. I'm I'm surprised Netflix haven't tried to put forward Glenn Close for Best Supporting Actress. It feels like, especially the ending, she does a great turn at the end. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen the film. There's some fun work for us cast like Bunty Jeremy Renner, Andrew Scott, Thomas in Church, His Fame Eternal, Daryl McCormick, Joshua Niggers, the lively, hateful performances. I just had a great time with this, and if for as long as Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig want to make Benoit Blanc films, I'll be lined up to see them.
Well, it's my favorite of the three, but in the end, the biggest mystery is not who did it. The biggest mystery is why Daniel Craig still can't do the easiest accent for British people to do, and Josh O'Connell nails it out of the park. His American accent is spot on.
Yeah, so I actually watched this today in order to see if it would break my top 10. And I agree with Howard. It is, in my opinion, the best of the three movies so far. And I really enjoyed it a lot. But it still didn't make my top 10. It was like maybe 12 or 13. But maybe on a second rewatch, maybe on a rewatch, it'll be bumped up a little higher.
Well, Howard, what did you see that you would put in the number 7 spot?
Well, this is one of Richard Linklater's two films this year. It's a Nouvelle Vague, which is about the shooting of Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless. I thought it was pretty wonderful, though I got in trouble on Facebook because one person took quite umbrage when I said it was a film that has no reason to exist, but who cares when it's so good? That seems like a trivial criticism to make of it. I thought it was pretty wonderful. I did not like Blue Moon, and I don't really understand why people do, except for Andrew Scott. I think the character of played by what's his name is almost impossible to watch, but other people didn't agree. But I thought Nouvelle Vague is wonderful.
What I really like about Nouvelle Vague is the fact that they kept telling us who the people are, because there's so many people that come on screen, and because it's also dealing with French film from the late 50s, early 60s. So someone like me who's not a big fan of the nouveau era isn't familiar with all the people, and they put like someone's name there, and you're like, oh wow, okay, that person I've heard of, and this is what they're doing. stuff like that. So I liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
I like both. They're not on my list, but I like both.
I haven't seen Blue Moon. Nouvelle Vague hasn't come out in the UK yet.
Hasn't?
Blue Moon.
Oh
Blue
gosh,
Moon
I'm
I
kind of
enjoyed.
surprised.
Blue Moon I actually enjoyed, except for the fact that it was very annoying how they kept using the angle shots to try to show us more and more, how short the character is supposed to be. I just found it to be too much in your face. It's not like we're watching Hobbits. It's a little different.
Well, tell us what's in your face for number 7, Rob.
My number 7 is the latest, possibly last, who knows, Mission Impossible film, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I did like Jeanette. I liked the previous one a little less, but the way that this story was told and they put it together was just so fascinating to watch.
A lot of detail, a lot of stuff. It was a long film that's finishing the second half of the story that they started in the previous one. Yeah.
Right.
The second half of it I liked. The first half I was not a fan of.
And just
Liked it decently enough. It's completely stolen by Tremel Tillman whenever he's on screen, and that for me, he was the highlight.
All right. My number 7 film is a film that I talked about with Howard on the show. We when I was traveling and I did a kind of a last minute special show, Roofman, the Channing Tatum film with Kirsten Dunst, about a criminal who escapes from jail, hides out in a Toys R Us for months, and kind of leads a life outside of this location that he's hiding in, despite the fact that he's a wanted man. And he's famous for being a burglar robber who would go through the roof of a building, typically a fast food franchise, and rob people when they were opening the store at the beginning of the day. And despite the fact that he's a criminal, he's got a lot of charm to him. And Channing Tatum, I think it's his best performance, and Kirsten Dunst is really good in this film. I liked her quite a bit, and I enjoyed this movie a lot. It was very entertaining to me. Howard had a couple of issues with some of the legal questions that are involved. We won't get into that right now, but I thought that if you're looking for a film that's entertaining, this is a movie that I think anybody could enjoy.
It's fun. It's very sweet.
Yeah, it was a fun movie.
All right, let's get in another list here from one of our other absent lambs. Dave Anderson didn't rank his top 10 list. He just sent me a list of 10 films that he thinks deserve special attention. So I'm going to give you his list here. He's got Sisu, Road to Revenge, Eddington, Black Bag, Relay, Weapons. Hey, that's the first time that Weapons has been mentioned. I'm a little surprised about that. Sinners, which we have talked about a couple of times, The Life of Chuck, The Long Walk, and Dave, what are you thinking of? One Battle After Another? Damn. And then 28 Years Later. So, Dave, thank you for sending in your list of 10 films that you think we ought to have some attention for. The Free Kittens Movie Guide is always welcome here on the Lambcast. So we're going to come around back again to our number 6 position. And Rachel, we're going to have you tell us what you put in the number 6 spot for your list.
My number 6 is one of my favorite blockbusters of the year. It's F1, the movie. I thought it was so much fun. I loved the racing scenes. I thought that Brad Pitt was super charismatic. I'm a big sucker for underdog sports movies. And so this did that formula, I think, very well. And I enjoyed it. I saw it twice in a theater. So.
Well, I'm going to mention it's also number 6 on my list, so I'm jumping
It's
ahead a
also
little
number
bit.
6 on mine.
All right, so everybody seems to like this, and you're right. It is a blockbuster kind of film, and it's surprising how good it is. I am not a race fan at all. I mean, I've
Neither am I.
never
I
sat
hate
through a
race
F1
movies.
race, I,
Same.
or a Indy 500 race, or Daytona, or any of those car races. You know, it's a lot of going around, but I've enjoyed movies about racing way more than I've ever enjoyed a race itself. So
I
that's
feel
a
that
little
way about
strange.
sports in general. I like movies about sports much better than actual sports.
Yes, I know a lot of people are like that. A lot of people like that. And this is a Brad Pitt film. This is actually like his most successful action picture, which is kind of surprising. It's a great looking movie. It sounds terrific. It looks terrific. I walked out afterwards and said, "That's how you make a summer action movie and get people involved because it's very engaging." And it was another one of those films that where I know that the theater business is struggling, and one of the ways that they're trying to address that is by putting things on IMAX and having the big theaters and the great sound system. And this is one that where that benefited immensely.
Yeah.
Tony, how about you? What have you got in your number 6 spot?
So yeah, for my number six, I think this is also one that's going to be on your list later on, Richard. It is Frankenstein.
Oh yes,
It's a good
The-
film.
yeah,
I
I mean,
do have Frankenstein on my list. It comes up a little bit later.
yeah, I mean, like reminded, I'm a massive fan of Guillermo del Toro, and it's clear that Frankenstein's been a massive passion project for him. He's see how much love he has for the story of Frankenstein, the character of the creature, and it's interesting seeing how Del Toro plays with the story of Frankenstein. It's clear he has more sympathy for the creature, and that translates into how the creature's entered the creature's story, the interactions of the blind man, really fascinating to watch. Jacob Elordi was I've not really been a fan of Jacob Elordi before. His performance is a bit more mixed to me, but he's brilliant as the creature. He's my personal pick for best supporting actor at the awards this year. And yeah, the makeup work done for him is incredible, and there's a great dynamic with Oscar Isaac. There's see a bit of a look at with Oscar Isaac's Frankenstein being more of presented as an abusive father, showing a bit of a element of cycles of abuse being created, and yeah, there's also great performance from Mia Goth. Personally, I did not recognize Mia Goth played Frankenstein's mum at the start of the film. I didn't realize that was a dual performance until I saw the credits. And when she plays Elizabeth, there's this tenderness that she brings to the character that actually shows the monster, and this great contrast with the more negative, abusive aspects of Oscar Isaac's performance. The production design, costume design, absolutely stunning. As someone who's fascinated by the history of polar exploration, I'm glad it included the North Pole exploration side of the story that often gets cut out. That's just ticks a load of boxes for me, and it also works well as the counterpart part two, Del Toro's version of Pinocchio, looking at the nature of life and death and question of what it means to be alive, what it means, and the nature of how being alive means being able to die, and I feel like it do a great deal of those two and seeing how they both play with understandings of life and death.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last week, Howard. I know that you are a fan of the second half of the film, but not of the first half.
Yeah, the first half doesn't really work that well for me, but I thought the second half was really good.
Yeah, and I'll have a few more comments on it when we get to it, but I'd agree with almost everything that Tony said here. I think that it's an incredibly handsome film, and I like some of the choices that were made in the storytelling as well. Um, I mentioned on a previous show that this is Frankenstein is my daughter's favorite novel, and she saw it, and she is kind of a stickler for things. So apparently there are slight changes in some of the story, and she says it's the most true to the story of any of the movies that she's ever seen that are Frankenstein based. But she's picky, so she's got to let that thing bug her, despite the fact that it's the best Frankenstein she's probably ever going to see, because I'm pretty sure that that's the way it's going to fit for me. Howard, what have you got in your number 6 spot?
Well, I've I'm a big fan of Kiyoshi Kurosawa, even though I really haven't seen a large number of his films. But Pulse, Cure, and Tokyo Sonata are just great. I don't think we see enough of his films playing over here, and he deserves more attention. But Cloud, I guess, is his most recent. It's about a young man who resells goods online and finds himself at the center of a series of mysterious events that put his life at risk. It's very unnerving. It's very creepy, um, but I found it quite riveting, quite fantastic.
All right. Good deal. Uh, and MovieRob and I have already covered our number 6. We talked about F1. So we're going to swing back around to Rachel, and we're getting to the top 5 now. So, Rachel, what's your number 5 film?
My number 5 is Kiss of the Spider Woman. And this was fun for me, both as a theater critic and a film critic, because this is a Broadway musical that people don't know that well. Like it's only been on Broadway one time. So most people, aside from knowing about Cheetah Rivera, and it don't really know, it's not like Wicked where everybody knows the songs, everybody knows what's going. And so it was kind of an introduction to this musical like period for me, which was fun. And I liked the performances. I thought the dual storytelling of the old school Hollywood musical with I love friendship stories. So the friendship between these two prisoners was very sweet and well done, well acted. So it was very exciting, I thought, to me.
Well, it came up for discussion, I think, last week also, and Todd had it on his list, which is nice. I saw the movie in the theaters, and I liked it quite well, but it is, I think, an acquired taste. It's one of those things that I'm not sure everybody appreciates as much as they probably should. I agree, like the musical staging was terrific. That's the thing I like best about the film.
I was surprised it flopped as bad as it did, but I knew it wouldn't be for everyone. So.
All right, Tony, your top 5. We're getting there. What's number 5?
So number 5 on my list, Jeanette mentioned it as one of her disappointments of the year. I've got it one of my favorites. My number 5 is Superman. So I am a fan of Superman. Like, we're watching the DC animated shows, like the stuff done by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini. But ever since, really, only before this, only the original first Christopher Reeve was the only film I think that got Superman as a character. The other ones felt a bit flat. Like Superman Returns was mixed bag. It felt a bit dull. And Zack Snyder really doesn't get the character. He always felt like the wrong choice to direct him. I had some fun with Man of Steel, but Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is the closest I've ever come to walking out of a film. And I didn't like Justice, either the theatrical cut of Justice League, and the Snyder cut is still a bad film, but it's a consistently bad film rather than a disjointedly bad film. So I was hoping that James Gunn could present a proper, hopeful, joyful version of Superman, and that's the character I got. This is James Gunn just understands Superman, the impact that the character has, and David Corenswet's performance. It's a lot of fun to watch. It understands that the man side of the character is the most important rather than the super parts, and the conversation that Clark has with Jonathan Kent towards the end of the film, that conversation represents Superman to a T. It's that bit that understand that shows James Gunn gets this character, and as the action scenes are a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed seeing Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner play this absolute egotistical arse that he just fits that character really well. As someone who saw Noah and the Whale in concert, I'm really pleased to hear that their song 5 Years Time was played in one of the action scenes. Eddie Gaffegi is a lot of fun to watch as Mr. Terrific. There's some work from Anthony Carrigan. Nicholas Hoult is a great Lex Luthor. He gets the egotistical, petty nature of the character really well. I like the chemistry between Clark and Lois. They've come and Rachel Wagner worked on together. It has a really solid political edge that I wasn't expecting that when I first saw the trailers. Crypto, the Superdog's a delight. I'm looking forward to seeing more of the character in Supergirl, and with this Creature Commandos piece like Suicide Squad as a starting point, I'm really excited to see what James Gunn does with DC under his stewardship.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of the mission that Superman's parents sent him on. I thought that was probably kind of a shift in tone from the traditional stories, and I thought that was, they're using that as a tool to kind of create the controversy and add the political element to the film. However, all of that is balanced out by Crypto, who is fantastic, and I would see that movie again because of Crypto.
I loved
See,
the
you said the
romp.
filler and a dog, and Richard loves the movie.
That's it. That's it. Put a dog in the movie, and it's like what was Shakespeare in Love, In a Bit with the Dog.
That's right.
I loved the rom-com vibes. It just made me realize how much I just miss rom-com banter at the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I liked it. A lot of people liked it a lot less than I did, but I enjoyed it. I think it was it's not up there with the Christopher Reeve I guess duology from the
Yeah, we'll only
78
pay
and
attention to those first two.
But
exactly. But other than that, I still think they did a nice job here. And like Tony said, I'm looking forward to seeing what Gunn has in store for us with his version of DC. Because I've always been more of a fan of DC than Marvel.
The original Superman also has like big time rom-com vibes. It's an underrated aspect of that movie. It's basically a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
They go on a date.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, we don't have Lois floating around in the air with Superman in this particular film, but we do have Howard floating around waiting to give us his number 5 film.
Well, okay. This is one that really was people seem to love it or hate it. It was one of those. I love Catherine Bigelow's directing, but her screenplays are often flawed for me. But I thought House of Dynamite was one where the direction and screenplay came together in a strong way. It's a nightmarish and modern version of Failsafe, the more existential and terrifying. And it's what happens when someone launches an intercontinental ballistic missile and they have to try to figure out, is it real? Who did it? Where is it going? They don't even know where it's going to hit at first, and can it be stopped? I thought it was a very strong movie, very unnerving.
Yeah. For me, I like the first segment of the film. I found to be one of the most tense, exciting, engaging pieces of cinema I've seen this year. But it does fall for me. It fell down a bit as it went on, repeating the same story again. I understand what was being going for, but because of how good that first part was, the other one just didn't quite work as well. And the score, I liked it better when it was used in Conclave. It's the exact same score as Conclave.
Well, this is the first time I've heard of this film. And I'm looking it up here and I'm going, oh, well, it's got Rebecca Ferguson in it. And, sorry to default to my daughter again, but Rebecca Ferguson is like her favorite. She's got a little crush on her. So I should not have any trouble convincing her to watch this. And it's a Netflix film. So that explains why I probably didn't see it. It says it played in theaters, select theaters.
The ending is very controversial. The ending.
Yeah.
So
I thought the ending was the only ending they could really have for it, but I'm very existential. It was one of those films that was headed toward a lot of Oscar nominations, and then it opened, and that was that.
Huh. All right. Fair enough. Rob, it's your turn for number 5.
All right. So I'm gonna go for a foreign film called Soiree, A Wife from the Future. Which, again, by everyone's silence, nobody's heard of it.
Okay, can you say the title again
no.
slowly?
I think it's Soiree, S-O-R-E. Soiree, sorry, something like that. I think it's like a Malaysian film, if I remember correctly. And it's the end of the title is A Wife from the Future. It's about a man who is sleeping in his bed, and a woman appears, and she claims that she's his wife from a few years in the future, and she's basically come to try to quote unquote fix him, and she isn't able to tell him why she needs to fix him, and then when she tells him it's because he will die in a few years, then she disappears, and then she starts. It's like a Groundhog Day type of thing, and she has to keep going through the whole thing in order to try to find a way to save him. And it was very clever the way that this story played out. I really liked it. You know, again, it's a Groundhog Day sci-fi type of thing, and it touches upon the whole thing about you know how everyone in a marriage wants to fix the other person, and whether you can or can't do that. You know, that type of
Yeah, well, that sounds interesting, and it sounds a little supernatural. You know, it's a little odd.
thing.
Uh,
Yeah,
okay.
Again, I saw it on a very long short list of possible films, being nominated for best foreign language film, and I was able to get a chance to see it. So I said, all right, I'll check it out. And again, I really enjoyed it, and I wasn't expecting to do that. I was expecting to enjoy it.
Well, good, good. I don't know anything about it except what you just told me, and so I think I will be checking it out. My number five film is the earliest film that came out in 2025 that I thought was worthy of end of the year consideration, and that's Black Bag, the Stephen Sondheim spy film, which I liked quite well. It's
Soderbergh.
Soderbergh.
Yeah, it's going.
Sondheim would
Wait a
be very
minute.
different.
did I say Sondheim?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My head is cloudy. My head is cloudy. I'm going to edit that out because I know this is
I just
I
think
was
the
going, I don't
idea of
remember any songs.
no
in
no
this
no
movie.
Stephen
it's
Sondheim's Black Bag would
Soderbergh.
be very entertaining.
Soderbergh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it would be an interesting way to see that film. Oh my gosh. Well, like I said, I'm going to blame Cedar Fever on that one. You know, the Soderbergh film, yes, I'm sorry, with Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett. Did I get those names right at least?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
When I listen back to this, I'm going to laugh at myself quite a bit.
Not as much as we're laughing at you now.
Apparently, the it reminded me quite a bit of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the Gary Oldman version of that film. You have to pay attention to what's going on. There's a convoluted spy story that's going on. It's a slow burn, and if you are not engaged in what's happening, you're going to miss things, and that's too bad because it's really a very well told story. And when there does get to be a little bit of action at the end, I think it does pick up some intensity, and I found it quite good. I'm a fan of spy films, and I like this one quite a bit. I think it's made a couple of other people's lists that we were going to be talking about. So, a strong recommendation from me. And I'd like to see the Sondheim version of it. All right, let's get to number four here. Rachel, what have you got in the number
right.
four position?
I was really drawn to comedies this year, and luckily it was a very good year for comedies. And one of the funniest movies I think I've seen in the last decade is the Naked Gun remake. That's my number four. I thought it was so funny. It's just as soon as you finish laughing at one joke, there's another joke, and they just keep coming and coming and coming. And I thought Pamela Anderson was hilarious. The whole I cover Hallmark movies for my job, and so the whole snowman bit was absolutely hilarious, and so I loved it.
It's very funny. We had it discussed a little bit last week on the show, and I forget exactly what the context was, but I know that MovieRob was not a fan of it.
No, no.
But
That's why I'm remaining silent. The right to remain silent here.
okay,
I already said my piece last week about it.
I didn't mean to call you out. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. No, perfectly. I'm not
Hey,
ashamed
that's
of
the
it.
thing. You either laugh or you don't laugh,
Well,
with a comedy. So
Rachel,
It's-
are you a fan of the original?
I am but I mean that's what I was expecting, because usually these kind of remakes are terrible, but I don't know. I thought it was so funny. So
No, but did you find the original so funny or not?
yeah. I haven't seen it in a long time. But I thought this lived up to that level for me.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't, but yes, that's fine. And I have trouble thinking of Liam Neeson as Leslie Nielsen's son, but whatever.
I liked the fact that he's been doing all these action movies, so to me he was the perfect choice to kind of play up on a lot of the tropes that he has been leaning into lately. So that was I thought smart. And I mean, it's not a movie that's going to win you over on the plot. It's just, do you think the jokes are funny or not? And I did. So.
Okay.
I also really loved Splitsville and Fackham Hall. Those were also...
I was about to mention Packham Hall. I had a lot of fun with Naked Gun. The snowman seems to be taken. That feels pure Lonely Island. That's definitely Lonely Island influence.
And it
that's
doesn't
the most I've laughed in a film this year.
Yeah, and it doesn't come out until 2026, but keep an eye out for Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. I saw it twice at festivals. I liked it so much. So it was absolutely hilarious. So it's a good year for comedies, for me at least.
Tony, what have you got in the 4 spot?
Yeah, well, I'm going pretty opposite tones. If I do it, my number 4 is 28 Years Later. And yeah, this is on, like, I only watched the original 28 Days Later for the first time last year, but I was really impressed by it. And I was intrigued by see it with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland coming back to see what happened to the world of Britain following the events of the original film and 28 Weeks Later. But this it's really not the film I was expecting. Like, from the original excellent trailers for this film, I was expecting something more overtly horrific. But this is a much more somber, heartfelt film than I was expecting. Like, the biggest example of this is like with Ray Fiennes, his character Dr. Kelson, and with the Bone Temple. Like, in the trailer, it comes off as really ominous and foreboding. In context, it's a really beautiful metaphor for death and embracing understanding death. It's just some really beautiful imagery. There's great performances on Ray Fiennes, but a great performance from Alfie Williams and great work from as to be expected from Jodie Comer. The film looks really impressive. Like, the use of iPhones for a lot of cinematography allows some really interesting editing with some of the kills. It's like really great film to look at. And I'm really intrigued to see what happens in the sequel coming out in a few weeks. I'm actually wondering how it will play with the Jimmies and basing a modern horror film around the cult of Jimmy Savile. That's going to be an interesting watch.
Yeah, it is going to be very interesting, especially with that ending that kind of was a little strange, I thought. So it'll be interesting to see how they follow up on that.
Well, they set up quite a bit of stuff in that in 28 Years Later for this Bone Temple film. So obviously they are strongly connected to one another. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but I'm looking forward to the Bone Temple, and I like 28 Years Later quite well.
Yeah, me too.
Howard, where are you on number 4?
Oh, it's back to me again.
Yeah.
My, how time flies when you're having such fun. It's Sinners, written and directed by Ryan Coogler. I thought it was very ambitious, very unique. It's a marvel. I think we're now in a new wave of horror films, like back in the 70s and 80s with Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist and Poltergeist. We've entered a new era with Sinners and Weapons and others, films like that. So, yeah, Sinners is my next one.
Yeah, Sinners has been on a couple of those other lists, so I'm going to mention one more of them in just a minute, as a matter of fact. MovieRob, what are you on number 4?
Okay, I'm actually going to go with a documentary, Apollo 1 Destination Moon. It's a new documentary that just came out not long ago, all about what happened with the Apollo 1 disaster. And I really like the way it splits things up into basically 3 parts. The first part is telling the history up until then, including the story of the 3 men. Then after that, the second chunk of it talks about what happened in the disaster itself, and then the third part talks about all the repercussions and how it, what was done because of all of that. And me being a big fan of the early space race, especially the Apollo missions, for me this was just gold to sit and watch this. It was just amazing.
Where did you see this?
I found a copy of it.
Okay.
So
Leave
it
it
fell
at
off a truck, is what you're saying.
More or less. Yeah.
He
It fell off the truck on
found.
the internet.
Well, I'm interested in seeing it for the same reasons that you were interested in seeing it, and I want to locate it and add it to my list of things to catch up with. All right. Well, my number 4 is Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro film. Did I say that one right? I didn't blame it on somebody else, did I? And we've already talked a little bit about it. This is maybe the best looking movie I saw this last year. It was just, the production design on it is great. I know that they did a lot of CGI, but they also did a lot of actual production, and it looks terrific. It's very well made, and I know that Howard's not a fan of the first half, but I like some of the things in the first half. I love the demonstrations that Frankenstein is doing in the auditorium, that gets people started. Christoph Waltz is in the film in the first half of the film, and I appreciated his participation in the film as an interesting side note on what's going on there. And Oscar Isaac is fine, but I do agree that Victor Frankenstein is the lesser interesting character, but that didn't make the film less interesting to me. All right, let me share one more list that I'm going to read for our list of people here. This is from Chris Tanski, who hasn't been on the show in a while, but he did allow me to share his list. He has Tron Ares, which he says is hypnotic visuals and pounding energy. Everybody likes the sound of this movie, even if they didn't like the film. He also had Frankenstein number 9 on his list, gothic, tragic, and dripping with atmosphere. Predator, Killer of Killers. There you go, Jeanette. Your film is included in this film list as well. And of course, number 7, he has Predator Badlands. So it's like a pair that's going together. Number 6, Chris is mentioning this is the only mention of this film I've seen, and that's Elio. He says, pure imagination and heart, funny, emotional, and genuinely beautiful. Number 5, he likes Superman, so he says it's earnest, hopeful, and refreshingly sincere. Number 4, Black Phone 2. He says it expands the mythology while keeping the dread front and center. Number 3, Friendship. He says it's excruciating in the best way. Weaponized awkwardness. Well, I think I saw the trailer for this and thought, oh, how uncomfortable that'll be. Number 2, One Battle After Another person who's fallen for that silliness. And and then number 1, he has Sinners, which has been mentioned a couple of times. So I'm glad that Chris sent in his list. Actually, I stole his list from online and asked him if it was okay to include. So Chris Tanski, thank you very much for allowing me to do that. We've got one more list that we'll be sharing in a minute, but we'll do that in a completely different way. We're down to number three. Number three on your list, Rachel.
Yes, so my number three is the movie Sorry Baby. This is the debut from Ava Victor. She's the lead and she wrote and directed it. And again, I was really drawn this year to movies that conquered heavy topics but still had a little bit of humor. And that's what you get here. She faces a trauma in her life, but she kind of deals with it through being awkward and funny. And I thought it was very emotionally true, especially a scene where she has a panic attack. I think was it might be my favorite, just pure scene of the whole year. And her relationship with Lucas Hedges was really endearing, and I loved it.
Yeah, this
Another one I saw
was
twice in theater.
yeah, this was really close to being in my top 10. This was like number 11 on my list. I agree on the film. It's really emotionally honest film, but
Mhm.
a heartfelt film. You mentioned the panic attack scene. That's the best scenes of the year. Probably the best one scene performance of the year from John
Mhm.
Carroll Lynch. He's
Yeah,
exactly
I wish
the
that
person you need to get for a role like that.
yeah, I wish that performances like that would get acknowledged at the as a true supporting performance. Like he really owns that scene, and you know, he's like, why are you parked here? You know, leave. And then he realizes what is happening, and it changes, and yeah, it was very good and a very impressive debut from her, I think.
All right. Tony, what have you got in your three spot?
My number three is one of the holdovers from 2024, released in 2025 in the UK, and that is Nickel Boys. Like the original book is one of the best books I've ever read. Between that and the Underground Railroad, it made me a massive fan of Colson Whitehead. And so when I heard that this film adaptation was coming out, I was really eagerly anticipating it. I want to see it at the 2023 London Film Festival. The time has never quite worked out. It was one that I made a trip over to Bristol to make sure I could see it in the cinema, and I'm really glad I did. The the actual way it's shot, the first person cinematography from the eyes of the characters gives it a really interesting, unique feel. It's almost like John Fray's cinematography becomes a character. It's the character itself. It's more of the character than the performances from the actors, which are both excellent. It captures the heart of Colson Whitehead's book. It doesn't shy away from the brutality of those schools and the discrimination that the characters face. But also understands the friendship that that the characters developed. It's really tender, touching film, but also, and yeah, it's just a great example of what can be done when you decide to tell a story like this in a unique fashion. And I was really disappointed that this didn't get more attention at award season last year for its cinematography. I'm glad it got the best picture on this, but it really should have got best cinematography.
All right. And like you said, it's here it was last year, but there it was this year, so it's perfectly fine for you to include it. Howard, number three for you.
I just talked about Sinners, right? Okay, sorry, I'm looking at my list. I'm wondering where am I at? Number three is Train Dreams. It's directed by Clive Bindley, who I'm not really familiar with. Um, he wrote Sing Sing and directed a movie called Jockey, but I haven't seen these. This movie came out of nowhere, but it's now in the is expected to get 5 to 6 Oscar noms, though Joel Edgerton may just miss out on it. I think it's an absolutely beautiful film. It's about a character study of a lumberjack before World War II up until the 60s. It's one of the most beautiful and emotionally rich films I've seen in some time.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to watch this at the London Film Festival last year. Like I this one wasn't originally on my radar, but when I was looking through the schedule for the London Film Festival, saw it was done by I had was Clint Bentley and Greg Quader on of it, and Sing Sing I had as my number two film of last year. So I was like, yeah, need to see this. on the as a cinema experience, it's absolutely beautiful to watch. The cinematography is gorgeous, and Joel Edgerton's performance, he's the person I'm rooting for best actor, and I really hope he gets nominated.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. I've liked Joel Edgerton for a long time, but I haven't seen this film yet. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who did not care for the film, but ever since I talked to him, four other people have told me how great it was, including Howard. So,
I think that you would really like it, Richard. It has a lot of the same themes of Hamnet, and I know how much you love Hamnet.
yes. Okay, great. Oh, that's right. We talked about it on that show too.
Yeah.
Yes. Rob, what have you got in your number 3 spot?
Okay, my number 3 is another foreign film called Sirat. Sirat. I don't want to give away too much about it, but it's about a father and a son who go to a rave party in the Moroccan desert to try and find his missing daughter. And the things that happen to them in the course of this, it's unlike any other film that I've seen that deals with this type of stuff, because there's just so many things that it's not predictable at all. Let's put it that way. I don't want to, again, I don't want to give away too much about it, but it was really, really good. And, so that's why I think people should take a look at it.
Well, you won't be the only person who's mentioning it, not me, but it does come up on another list here in just a minute. So,
Right. Okay. Well, Richard, I also have to go. So do you want me to just quickly give my number 2
yeah,
and my number 1?
yes, go ahead and do that. I'm sorry that it took a little longer than we expected.
That's all right, no problem. So my number 2 is the Stephen King version of or the Stephen King story that was finally put to the screen, The Long Walk, which I talked a little bit about last week. This was just, in my opinion, an amazing adaptation. I even rewatched it again this week to cement the idea that that I really, really think that it was just done so well. And my number 1, which Richard could probably guess based on our conversation last week. Any guess?
My memory is so bad, Rob. I'm not even
Howard, do you
thinking.
remember what I might say?
What did he like
No.
last week? As soon as you say it, I'll remember it.
Oh, of course, of course. Okay, Avatar: Fire and Ash.
Avatar. There we go.
That's my number 1.
Well, thank you for sticking around long enough to get those in. I'm sorry that you have to go
That's
early,
great.
but we're glad that you were able to make it to the show.
All right, you too. All the best. Happy New Year. Bye bye.
All right, in my number 3 spot, I have a film that I saw. It was also in the first half of the year, and I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it, but I did see a few people who had it on their list. Warfare. The it's from co-directors Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza, and Ray Mendoza is also the writer of the film. And as they say, it's based not on a true story; it's based on memory. This is the story of a military operation in Iraq, and how people got through it, and it was quite harrowing. We're not exactly sure what the ultimate mission is going to be, but we see this squad of U.S. military personnel doing what they do professionally, taking care of business, operating in the most professional way that you can in these circumstances. They do have a little bit of that esprit de corps silliness that sometimes military units have, but this is not that kind of story. Once you get going on it, it is basically what's the phrase? A real-time illustration of this event, and it's presented in a very frightening way. If you were one of these soldiers, you would feel, in danger the whole time that you were there. And I thought it was really excellent. It does a great depiction of what actual warfare looks like. It's not a pretty picture. There are injuries and death all around, and it's not a political film. It doesn't it doesn't seem like it has any agenda except to tell the story of these men and the mission that they were on and what happened to them. And it really, I thought it was really effective. Number two, Rachel.
Yeah, so my number two is a movie that I seem to respond more positive to than a lot of other critics, but I really, really enjoyed it. It's called Is This Thing On? This is from Bradley Cooper. And again, I was really drawn to movies this year that conquered heavy topics with like a little bit of humor. And here you have this divorce narrative, which normally that would be obviously very heavy. But Will Arnett, plays the lead, and he learns to sort of process this divorce through trying stand-up comedy for the first time. And Laura Dern is so good as his wife, and their chemistry I thought was really strong. And I just thought that it was very entertaining. And some people were like, "Oh, he wasn't very good at stand-up." I'm like, "Of course he wasn't good. He was an amateur. He's trying it for the first time." So that's a weird complaint in my eye. But yeah, I just thought that this was a lovely little script and well acted by all involved.
Yeah, this is another one I watched at the London Film Festival. It was one of the big gala screenings. But especially, like, I never expected Bradley Cooper. If you told me that Bradley Cooper was doing a film inspired by the life of Liverpool comedian John Bishop, I'd have said you're joking. That's two people who I'd never expected to even be in the same sentence. It just
Yeah.
honestly, but it ends up being really much more like a much touching film than expected. I'm a massive fan of Will Arnett. I was getting some BoJack Horseman vibes throughout, and
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
and that's always a good thing because BoJack Horseman, it's always been a toss between BoJack Horseman and The Wire, which is my favorite TV show. And yeah,
Yeah.
Will Arnett, I'm hoping that somebody gets Will Arnett more attention as a dramatic actor.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to Sorry Baby in that like we all experience trauma, and most of the time we do it through being awkward and funny, you know.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing this film. Apparently, it opened late in December, but it's not playing in any of the theaters around here until next week.
Yeah. So I hope people will catch it. I thought it was very good.
Tony, what's number two on your list?
So my number two is my final holdover for films from 2024, and it's my second animated film of the year, and that is Memoir of a Snail. I've in this past, I'm a massive fan of Adam Elliott's previous film, Mary and Max, and I've been eagerly awaiting him to make another feature. He's done a few shorts, but I was hoping that he'd do another like full length feature film. And this is just a really like great film. I mean, it doesn't quite reach the highs of Mary and Max for me, but that's a really high bar to clear, and coming vaguely close to it is a great testament. It's a really dark film to watch. There is some tenderness of the relationship between and Pinky. It's really emotional moments with the twin relationship with the twins, which as a twin myself really like hit me emotionally. But it's not an easy one to watch. There's talks about conversion therapy, abuse in the foster system. As one of the characters who has and I'm trying to phrase this politely, like a fat fetish who's deliberately fatting up a character for his sexual desires, which is really disturbing and uncomfortable to set and watch, but makes it a really like powerful film as how to overcome the trauma that she experiences throughout her life. It shows how people can get insular and develop into hyperfixation to try and hide from the painful experiences that they're experiencing in their life and the trauma they experience. But there's always a great sense of humor throughout that, and Adam Elliott's always been great at balancing the darkness and the comedy in his films. And it's always by like great voice performances from like Sarah Snook, Jackie Weaver, Codestin McPhee. There's a fun little appearances from Eric Banner and Nick Cave. I found this really emotionally tender and beautiful film. Well, it's not an easy watch in any way.
Okay, well, it doesn't sound like it's going to be something I'm just going to pop in and watch it casually. I'm going to have to gear myself up for it.
Yeah.
Howard, what have you got number 2 on your list?
I have never been that big a fan of Ari Aster at first. I thought Hereditary and Midsommar just didn't work. But then came Beau is Afraid, and now we have Eddington. And I loved Eddington. I love Beau is Afraid. I understand why people didn't like Beau is Afraid, but I love Eddington. He's becoming very ambitious, and he's trying to create his own style and world. And I'm now very much in his corner.
All right. Somebody else mentioned Eddington on one of those lists that I read earlier. I don't remember who it was, but remind me about what the story is very briefly.
Oh, well, it takes place during the COVID pandemic in Mexico, and there's this political battle between the sheriff, Joe Cross, Joaquin Phoenix, who is brilliant in this, and Mayor Ted Garcia, played by Pedro Pascal. A lot of the conflicts is over bringing an AI, I don't know what you call it, whether a company or whatever, to the town. But there's a lot going on. I mean, it's like it tries to cover every major issue in the U.S. at the time.
Okay. Very ambitious, right? Okay. Well, my number 2 film was my favorite film of the year up until the end of the year. And it's kind of a small picture. It's a serial killer movie, but it's a very different kind of serial killer movie, and that's Dangerous Animals, which involves sharks. And Jai Courtney has been an actor that I've seen in a lot of things, and I know that people have been trying to turn him into something, an action star, a an actor that we could sell a picture on, and it hasn't quite worked. He was perfect in this movie. He's the villain of the piece, and he plays it to the hilt. This is like I said, it's a thriller with a kind of odd premise. A serial killer who gets off on watching people being eaten by sharks, and so he arranges that. And I thought it was very well made. It was very suspenseful. It was horrifying. It's not. I shouldn't say it's not. It's not as graphic as it could be, which I appreciated, but it is pretty graphic. So I think that it's something that people can accept. You don't have to be a gore hound to see this film. It's not a gore fest, although there are a couple of moments that are pretty disturbing. But I thought it was really well made, well written, and really well performed, especially by the lead villain in the picture. All right, we're going to take a brief break here for a second to hear a list from one of our lambs who sent in an audio for us. And so I'm going to let Aaron Neuwirth talk for himself.
Hello, Lambcast, and thank you, Richard, for putting this together. My name is Aaron Neuwirth. I am the co-host of Out Now with Aaron and Abe and the award-winning podcast Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla. I also write for Week of Entertainment, and everything I do can be found at thecodeofzeke.substack.com. Here are my top 10 films of 2025. At number 10, Highest to Lowest. At number 9, Black Bag. At number 8, Bob Trevino Likes It. Number 7, It Was Just an Accident. Number 6, Surratt. Number 5, Train Dreams. Number 4, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Number 3, Marty Supreme. Number 2, Sinners. And number 1, One Battle After Another. Thank you, Richard, for providing us another year of podcasting. I look forward to being a part of next year's crop of episodes as well. Happy New Year.
All right, it's time to reveal our number one films of the year. So everybody get ready. Drum roll, please. Rachel, what's the number one film that you had for 2025?
So the film that I think had the best combination of a great script, great performances, it had themes that I responded to. It really touches on especially the relationship between father and daughters, and its sentimental value is my number one for the year. I think it was just every relationship was completely believable to me, and something that anybody who's had to work with family and had to deal with family, you can recognize that even if you don't have the exact same problems, you can recognize the challenges and the moments of truth in the script. And like I said, the performances are all excellent. And yeah, it was the best, I think, overall film that I saw all year.
All right. Tony, what did you think was the best film that you saw this last year?
Yeah, so for me, my favorite film for 2025, it's uh, an international film from Iran. It's from a director I feel is I'm glad he's finally getting the attention he's been deserving for so long. My number one is It Was Just an Accident. I've been a fan of Jafar Panahi's films for years now, since watched some of his films at University Film Society. The stuff that he's made since his arrest and his ban from filmmaking has been some of the most exciting, engaging filmmaking that you can see anywhere in the world. Like this is not film and Taxi Tehran, both excellent pieces. And It Was Just an Accident is easily one of his best films. It's really tense film. There's this constant set of fear and paranoia throughout the film. Over there's the question. There's the film focuses on a someone who gets into a car accident, goes to a garage, but then and the mechanic at the garage realizes that the person in the accident was the person who interrogated him when he was arrested as a political prisoner, recognizing by the squeak of his prosthetic leg, and it's and so and the question of whether that actually has got the right person. There's the tension of whether as that's the case, and if it is the person, what would the consequences be of the action of the characters in the film towards him. It's really engaging watch. The ensemble cast are all excellent, with just a great ensemble cast. I hope that to get some attention at awards season. Probably not for the individual performances, but hopefully as an ensemble to get some work with Hayden Webber-Seri and Mariam Rashad being highlights. Of both give excellent performances here. Like the sound design and the way he makes use of the squeak of the prosthetic leg creates some like really great tension throughout the film. There's a great sense of humor throughout. There's like with the constant bribery and gift giving being created some really great moments of comic relief. And it has probably my favorite ending of any film this year. The way that I don't want to spoil, but the way the ending uses sound and the cinematography to build into the themes present throughout the film, it makes it really tense watch, and yeah, it's one that I hope a lot more people see, and I hope it does well award season.
The director's in jail again. It's France's entry in the international feature film for the Oscars, and will probably get a nomination for that.
Even making the film is an act of rebellion, apparently.
Oh, his films have been an act of rebellion ever since this is not a film.
Yeah. Well, Howard, what's your number one film?
Okay. My number one film is the winner of the Los Angeles Film Critics Award, the National Board of Review, the National Society of Film Critics, the New York Film Critics. I'm going to mention the name, and then we're just going to go on quickly to your choice. One battle after another. Enough said.
Well, whatever.
To each their own.
Well, there's a nice tie-in here because I said this on the show when we talked about my favorite film of the year. I said, when this movie, One Battle After Another, wins the award for Best Picture over this other film, I think I'm going to have to go to Hollywood and burn it down because I'm so frustrated. But I'm an outlier on this, which is okay. It's just I'm glad that people have seen films that they like. Look, I like
And
Paul Thomas Anderson. Magnolia and Boogie Nights are great films, and I just wish this was. Yeah. But that's my opinion. I'm glad that you liked it,
I
Howard.
didn't like it was just an accident. So we all have our outlier opinions.
There you go. And Rachel, you've already guessed what my favorite film of the year is. You hinted at it a minute ago. My favorite film of the year is Hamnet, which I thought was one of the most beautiful stories about love, loss, and reconciliation that I've seen. And it happens to be the genesis, at least the theory of this film is that it's the genesis of the greatest play ever written. And I just thought that it was brilliantly performed. And if they should just give Jessie Buckley the award right now. She was just fantastic in this movie. Maybe there was somebody else who was better that I haven't seen. I hope that if that is the
Well,
case, that they're really
She's
excellent.
very good.
But she was
it doesn't
terrific
really
in this
matter if
movie.
there is someone better. She's supposed to win. So.
Well, good. Good. So, Hamnet is my favorite film of the year. And everybody, thank you for sharing your lists. This is quite an extensive variety of films that we've talked about. And I want to thank everybody who sent in their lists to be included as well. And Jeanette for popping in at the last minute. And it's just been a lot of fun talking about movies from the last year, kind of reviewing the things that we've seen and the things that we especially liked. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll come back for our exit question of the week.
The Blueprint Review podcast is a monthly show where writers from the Blueprint Review website get together for a loose conversation about a wide range of films and physical media. In the show, the team reviews at least one previously unwatched disc from their individual collections, as well as talking about upcoming releases that they're excited about. So, if you're into films and shiny discs, go check out the Blueprint Review podcast. You can find us on most major podcasting platforms.
We're back, and look, we've been talking about films that we really liked this year. Obviously, when you're talking about a top 10 list, even whether it's the best quality or your favorite films, it's something that you found engaging and wanted people to know about. The exit question goes in the opposite direction. What was the most overrated or disappointing film that you saw in 2025? And Rachel, she's distinguishing between what's best and worst, or what's worst and what's most overrated or disappointing. I don't care which direction you go. Why don't you tell us what it is that you found reprehensible this
Well,
last year?
the worst movie that I saw all year, which I think it's a stretch to even call it a film, is War of the Worlds. It's like, we don't need to see all of your pandemic coping strategies. Like, keep that to yourself. It was an embarrassment for all involved. But the most disappointing film to me was actually The Materialists from Celine Song. I was super let down by it. The publicity was really playing up this is going to be a return of the romantic comedy. Like, she was saying how much she loved romantic comedies, and then to go and it'd be cynical and depressing and another take on how selfish singles in New York are. And I really was so let down by it. So as far as disappointing and overrated, in my opinion, I didn't think it did anything special. And it was a chance she could have really done something for a genre that desperately needs it. And so that was the most disappointing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it had the trappings of a romantic comedy, but it wasn't a romantic comedy at all.
No, it was not. And so that was very, very disappointing to me. And yeah, that was my most disappointing.
Howard, how about you? What were you disappointed in this year, or what did you find to be a letdown?
Well, I will say that you did mention War of the Worlds. I lasted like 5 minutes or less, and I said, nope, I'm out of here. So
Yeah.
I didn't even finish watching it. I think maybe the one that I came up with was Jay Kelly. I really do like Noah Baumbach a lot, and I was really looking forward to this. But George Clooney plays this character that is boring. I mean, he's a douchebag, but he's a boring douchebag. Uh, it's fine that he's a douchebag as the center of the movie, but don't make him a boring, bland, and interesting one. Adam Sandler is the one that steals the movie, and he's been, he was supposed to get an Oscar nomination this year. He may not. It's a tough. The acting's are tough categories.
It's interesting
Um,
because
y-
it's almost the same movie as Sentimental Value, except for in my opinion, at least, Sentimental Value does it much better. It's very similar.
Well, I haven't seen that yet, and I've been looking very much forward to seeing it. So yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. But yeah, this was
Yeah.
a really, I can't exactly say it was boring, but I'm going, nah.
Okay. Uh, Tony, what was overrated, disappointing, or the worst in your opinion?
So yeah, I mean, jumping on Rich as well. Again, most disappointing. I have to say Materialist as well.
Ah,
I loved Past Lives. I had Past Lives as my number three film of 2023. So I was really excited to see what Celine Song would do next. And this was such a disappointment to me. It felt really tonally confused. Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans felt miscast to me. Like seeing that the original, if it's right, and the original call list was with Jodie Comer and Jeremy Allen White, they would have fit the role so much better than Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans. And yeah, it just didn't work for me. I was so disappointed for it. Also, as I mentioned, it's already mentioned the Phoenician Scheme and the Running Man. Uh, other ones disappointments to me. Die My Love. I really like Lynn Ramsey's work. Jennifer Lawrence, Robert Pattinson were great in it, but it just felt very disjointed to me and never really worked as a whole. The choral was one that I normally like Nicholson Alan Bennett's adaptations, Alleluia excluded, and this had the potential to be a really great look at the way art can be useful to help people during wartime, but it all again the one that felt really tonally confused and never really worked. Worst film for me of the year, and I don't think it's got a release outside the UK, and I'm really thankful that it hasn't, because this is morally reprehensible. Is Marching Powder. This is absolute disgraceful film to watch.
what
Danny
is
Dye
it?
was sorry,
What's it called?
Marching Powder.
Oh,
And yeah, it's like Danny Dye. It's like the best way to describe it is a lad film. It's like, and I don't know really how that translates to people outside the UK, but cast is Danny Dyer in it, and Danny Dyer's had a bad year for films with Marching Powder and Christmas Karma, which is another massive disappointment that just really didn't work. And Christmas Karma has the most what the hell casting of any film this year, with Boy George as the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come in the Christmas Carol adaptation. But yeah, Marching Powder, it is just a really unpleasant film to watch. The characters are all unlikable. The story just doesn't work. Tries to make you feel sympathy for this absolute awful human being, and it's sort of on the point where the BBC had to come in and have the film edited, because there's a scene showing like a 13-year-old watching serious porn, which just that on its own just makes it just no, that just no.
Just no. I got you. All right. Well, I'm not going to take another shot at one battle after another, but I will mention a couple of other films. One which I really anticipated and was disappointed in was Mickey 17, which
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
agree with you there.
I
it's
had
very
great
good up
expectations for.
until you know the exact moment where that movie went wrong. It's one of those films where you can pinpoint the exact second.
And so it was a letdown. And then a movie that I wanted to like because it's based on football, and I'm a football fan, Him, which
Mhm.
which it was just terrible. I don't understand how they thought that this was going to work. And then I'm I don't want to write off somebody after just a couple of films, but Osgood Perkins has so far not impressed me at all with his movies. I know a lot of people like Longlegs, but The Monkey is the stupidest thing I've seen this last
Oh
year.
yeah, I was disappointed with the monkey. Some good kills,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
yeah,
but that's all it is,
yeah.
you know, and it's just not interesting, and that's so frustrating because it should have been. You've got a good premise, you've got the creepy look from the very beginning with just the damn monkey toy, uh,
Yeah.
and you
Completely
should,
wasted Adam Scott as well.
yeah, it's just what a dumpster fire.
Couple
So,
other disappointments, I think, are After the Hunt was such a disappointment from Luca,
God, yes.
and Ballad of a Small Player. That was a slog. And
I got through about 30 minutes of that.
yeah, it was rough. And Ella McKay, to have James L. Brooks come back and give that was very disappointing.
all right, so unfortunately, we've left you with disappointments instead of all of the good films that we saw this year. Let's go back and remember that we had a top 10 list of films that we all liked for the most part. And the disappointments, we're
With
just going to put
very few
them,
repeats.
yeah, we're going to put them in the background. We're going to put them in the background here. I want to
Yeah.
give everybody a chance to talk about something that they would like to share with the community. So, Tony, what have you got you could point people to listen to, or to watch, or to read?
So yeah, for me, I mean, site is cousreviews.wordpress.com. I'm in process of doing my full roundup of every film from 2025 I saw, which should be up by the time this episode goes out. Saw a lot of films last year, so it's been I'm making my way through that one. Find my main podcast, Wickerman podcast, whenever research that whenever chance is located. I've done a few episodes of the anthological podcast, talks about Sorcerer's Apprentice in the Fantasia series, and doing a segment for the Monty Python Meaning of Life series, looking at the middle of the film. In a few weeks, going to be on an episode of the Forgotten Film Cast, talking about the British film Scrubbers, and I'm sure there are some other ones that have been on, well, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's fine. You've given us plenty to look for. Uh, Rachel, I know that you've got a dozen things, so
Yeah, I'm very
let us have
busy.
it.
But the most exciting thing for me right now, I mean, I have all my content, which is a lot of fun. Look up Rachel's reviews and Hallmarkies podcast. But I have been the co-host, the guest co-host this for the last half year at KSL Movie Show every Friday here on KSL local radio. But you can listen to it in podcast version. I'm super proud of it. It's very exciting. So I would love people to check that out, and hopefully it will continue into 2026.
Well, good luck with that. I hope that it does continue the way that it's been. You were a substitute, right? But now you were kind of
Yeah.
A regular.
Yeah, that's the hope. So I started substituting in July, and I've been continuing on since then. So it's looking pretty good. So fingers
Good,
crossed.
good. And Howard, I know that you're getting ready to restart Pop Art because you're feeling better and able to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And you're supposed to be my first guest, so we need to start talking about that
That's right. And
for the Valentine's Day episode.
that's right. It's February. We need something that's Valentine based. So we'll get that taken care of soon. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I've also done a couple of episodes of Anthological, which I think is great. I'm supposed to do the MovieRob minute. Only he's now doing 5 minute segments because we're doing a Band of Brothers, so it's going to be a little bit different. But that's in the future here. As usual, I'm just doing the best I can to keep up with what's going on here on the Lambcast. I'm a little behind on the video for last week's show, but I'm going to get it done. And this show, of course, is always going to go up as soon as possible, ideally tomorrow, but it could be Tuesday because, like I said, I've been a little under the weather, but we'll catch up as best we can. I want to thank everybody once again for showing up this week. I appreciate it. I hope that you all have a happy new year, and let's hope that the movies from 2026 are at least as good, and I always hope that they're better than the year before. Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to the Lambcast. If you have an idea for a show or would like to join us on the Lambcast, contact us at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Find us on Facebook, just search for Lambcast, or on X, formerly Twitter, at Lambcast. And you can find us on YouTube as well. The Lamb site can be found at largeassmovieblogs.com. We'd also love it if you would leave a review on iTunes.
Ha 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 ha!